Guys, welcome to Solo ReacTalk. Today I'm going to be reacting to 5-ish Minute Lore, episode 17, Kryptman by Old Man Reacts. Yes, I remember Inquisitor Kryptman from Behemoth. Yeah, that SOB is crazy, but he gets the job done in his own way. And I guess we're gonna learn more about him from Old Man Reacts. Let's start. Oh yes, if you want to check out my other reactions to other Old Man Reacts Warhammer videos, remember the playlist card will be at the top. Just click on it and we'll be able to get to them. Let's start. 3, 2, 1, go.
General Medicaid warning. The views expressed in 5-ish Minute Lore, the lore delivered in rants, are sanctioned by their scholar Progenium as excess rageous. Prolonged exposure can result in loss of IQ, high blood pressure, random outbursts, and blunt force trauma to the skull, resulting in unconsciousness. Please consult your local physician for more information.
Ex-Inquisitor Fidus Kryptman. Fidus, hero of the Macarian heresy Kryptman. Fidus, inject that recaf into my fucking eyeballs, Kryptman. And Fidus, the ends justify the fucking means, Kryptman. When the Inquisition conjures up the gall to accuse you of being a homicidal maniac, you can know for certain that you are truly an absolute mad lad.
That's true. That's very true. Because, you know, these people already commit, you know, like exterminatus on different planets, you know, for the most whimsical of reasons. So if they accuse you of being someone even far more dangerous than even them, then there's something you're doing. There's something you're doing that's extremely wrong. Yeah.
Inquisition is about as gentle as a razor wire back rub and about as apologetic as one too. For 10,000 years, the only ones who may have overmatched them in sheer dickishness, from time to time, has been the Dark Eldar. But even the BDSM-loving knifers wouldn't dream of doing some of the stuff the Inquisition has done for the hell of it. But what do you...
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, the Dark Elder need sentient beings to torture, to survive. So they would never dare. They would never do what the Inquisition does in terms of, you know, exterminatus on planets. They need people.
Expect. The Inquisition claims the only ones they answer to is literally God, and not only that, everyone believes it. Power only exists where people believe it resides, otherwise half the systems in the world today would fall apart. The Inquisition wants everyone to be fully aware that they are the power, and they don't mind pumping a few planets and wiping out a few billion just simply to prove a point, and the amount of times they have done this is simply staggering. Wiping out a hive world because someone whacked off with rusted barbed wire while singing a Deftones song wouldn't be too beyond them, and yes, I did reference all 4 Chaos Gods when I said that. To be perfectly clear, to make sure things go exactly as the Inquisition wants them to,
Wait, let's see. Custodes, Dark Angels, Space Wolves. Who are the GSC? I don't know who they are. Black Templars, Imperial Guardsmen, after learning what a demon is, the Corpse Emperor, Robert Gulliman, Cadians, Chaos Cultists, Blood Angels, Celestial Lions, I think. Yeah. Wow, that's a lot of people hating on them.
be perfectly happy wiping out entire planetary populations, and the only thing they'd write in the report would be a vague reference to collateral damage. That's absolutely fucking terrifying and batshit insane. Now imagine a guy who scared the hell out of other Inquisitors.
This recaf is probably the most unsatisfying mug I've ever had to drink, Def.
Behemoth.
Watch.
Inquisitor Lord Kryptman of the Ordo Xenos arrived in orbit of the ocean world the Tyrant one day and found it weird that the ocean world was now oceanless. Upon closer inspection, he found out that shit had gone down in a bad way, and he promptly named the 82nd species of sentient life that he himself had discovered.
The space hags of death! What?
He just simply named them after the planet they had killed first, which was named Tyran, and so the tyranids. Upon naming the 82nd species, he did exactly what he did with the 81 that preceded it, loudly and proudly declaring that they should be exterminated. He then began to write the book on how to fight them, which was subsequently banned and burned by the rest of the Inquisition for being too extreme. The first thing he did after naming the murder roach was to try to communicate what he was seeing, only to discover that the genocidal grasshopper's sheer presence could make astropathic communication impossible. Trying to get the word out about the death beetles, he set course to the planet Thandros, only to find that the killer caterpillars had made it there before him.
Fucking damn it!
Finally, he was
Killer caterpillars. Killer grasshoppers. Huh. Okay, that's interesting.
able to get a message out after salvaging a few parts that remained on the dead world, and he got some orders. Go to Macragge, tell the Ultramarines, and help Marnius Calgar give the angry ants the Imperial fisting. The Battle of Macragge was about as insane as you would imagine. The entire first company of the Ultramarines died screaming for their spiritual liege. And then we won.
Yeah, the Swarm Lord really wrecked these people. The Ultramarines really had one of their biggest defeats, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not well versed in the Ultramarines war history, but I think that this one must have been one of the most terrible.
Is that so? So after your men were slaughtered, and you, almost literally, had your ass handed to you by the superior hive tyrant, known as the Swarm Lord, you then won? Instantly and without explanation.
Yes, well, a couple of things happened.
And the Ultramarines were supposedly so depleted it would take, quote, many long years, end quote, to replace its losses. But considering this happened when Matt Ward was calling shots, it took all of 15 minutes, and another plot point the Ultramarines could be shoved into to make them look better than everyone else, and thus ended the First Spacebook War, or the Tyrannic War if you want to be more specific about it. Now at this point, Kryptman dedicated...
But could you consider the tyranids as bugs? I'm not sure about that, you know, as a species. I don't know if you can classify them in the insectoid kind of species. I don't know. There's something else, but I don't think they're like bugs necessarily. I don't know.
Get himself fully to understanding the menacing moths and their ways, and he started coming up with a few ideas on how to solve the Imperium's problem. You see, the killer bees show up to a planet, and within a short time they overrun its defenses, strip it of all life, and leave behind a barren husk. These creatures and a few of my exes have a lot in common, but just like my exes, what typically happened before all life was annihilated, communication will be cut off to outside sources. This is called The Shadow and the Warp by Kryptman, or I Want to Know Who Your Mom Is in Your Context by a narcissistic bitch who will remain nameless. After the defeat of the first Hive Fleet, the Death Dung Beetles had disappeared but came back without warning in the form of Hive Fleet Kraken, proving the murder hornets were most definitely like my exes! We don't really know what all happened during this time period with Kryptman, but suffice to say he was well involved in battling back Hive Fleet Stacy. Sure enough, the second time the leeching locusts were wiped out, there were already signs of a third invasion. Kryptman led a Deathwatch kill team and joined up with a plucky band of intrepid heroes and fought off a tendril in the newly named Hive Fleet Leviathan by capturing something called a lictor and making a poison out of it. But
I think we need a movie based on Inquisitor Kryptman and his adventures in finding and investigating the Tyranids. You know, we need a movie based on this. Warhammer Plus, here's an idea. Anyone else on YouTube, here's an idea. You know, we need to make a movie out of this.
Then he was faced with the latest question: how to handle the rest of the Hive Fleet. The homicidal horseflies caused Kryptman to form an entirely new form of foreign policy. Leviathan kept cutting a swath through Imperial territory, slaughtering entire planets and adding their biomass to his form. Kryptman decided flat out he wasn't going to allow any more Imperial citizens to die to the foul Xenos. Oh no! He'd handle the killing his damn self! He took one look at where the Terror Termites were going, a sector called Octarius, and promptly decided that every fleet in it was going to catch an Exterminatus.
What the fuck?
In one move, Kryptman had told the High Fleet to hold his beer as he inflicted the largest genocide against the Imperium since the Horus Heresy. Now, just to be clear, your stock standard Inquisitor gives less than a quarter pound of fucks for a body count in the billions, but this is a bit much even for that organization. Kryptman had just popped an entire sector, in much the same way that an Inquisitor would order the bombardment of a city, much less a planet. The Imperium's upper echelons as a whole told Kryptman to go fuck himself, and he was declared a traitor, and the only reason he wasn't arrested was because of his distance from the rest of the organizations involved, which really isn't surprising, considering the last guy to kill that many people was fucking Horus. He was almost instantly stripped of his title and evicted out of the Inquisition, most likely because he was making everyone else look bad, especially when a pack of orcs claimed a bunch of the burning worlds that Kryptman had just depopulated. Kryptman was just too busy being the exterminator though. Octaria Sector, call him the Orchid Man! And when a space hulk full of gene stealers appeared, he had an entire brood captured and had the bright idea to promptly throw them at the newly forged orc stronghold in Octarius. Pretty soon, the entirety of the High Fleet was pulled right into the heart of the fledgling Orc Empire. Now, this has good and bad things. Good thing, High Fleet Leviathan has been temporarily stopped. Bad things, Kryptman has just pitted the two species that literally get stronger the longer they fight, and he pit them against each other, which means the longer the two sides fight, the more powerful they become.
Yeah, I have some bad news about that. The tyranids won. They won against the orcs, and yes, I think they are definitely more powerful than ever before after consuming all the biomass from the orcs. And you know, it was a gamble. I was also hoping that maybe the orcs would win it, and yes, there is a potential for a warg to occur if the orcs win, but you know, you just have to kill the leader, and then the leadership structure of the orcs will disintegrate and they'll start fighting amongst each other. So at least with the orcs, right, it would have been a bit more manageable. But with the tyranids, I'm afraid there's just nothing we can do. There's no way we can communicate or assassinate a swarm lord and just think that it's over. No, with these things, it's never over. So yeah, we gambled and we lost with that one.
Because of Kryptman, the cannibal cockroaches are fighting a prolonged war where they do nothing but gain biomass, and the orcs keep regrowing at such a ridiculous rate. The only thing consistent is the numbers are constantly getting higher. What we're left with is the possibility that orcs in the Octaria sector are getting constantly bigger than ever, and the death wasps are constantly absorbing more and more orc DNA. That only makes them tougher. Eventually, because of Kryptman, one of those two sides will win, and no one wants to know which side is going to win, because no matter who wins that war, humanity will lose. But for all of its horror, for all the death and destruction that Kryptman has caused, for all the bloodshed that he has done and the tragedies waiting to happen because of his actions, he still wins in my book. Why do you ask? Simple. From inside the Eye of Terror, for all his bluster, for all his hate and anger, all Thalbadon the Armless can do is sit there and see that once again, someone is better at killing Imperials than he has ever been. Suck it, you armless fuck!
Hello, Commissar.
What are you doing here?
Yes, I'd like to ask why you haven't addressed a certain promise you made a short while ago.
You mean a 5-minute lore about you?
Yes.
I'm a busy guy, Trazen. I'm getting to it.
Well, we'll just have to make sure we do that, won't we?
Oh, shit!
Okay guys, yes, that was 5-ish minute lore, episode 17, Kryptman by Old Man Reacts. Yes, Kryptman, look, that man was crazy. That man was crazy. His plans were insane. really killing so many people. But you know, I've been told before that, you know, his plans, some of them actually worked, so I guess we can congratulate him for that. But otherwise, the man is just insane. And at least there is one quality of him that I do respect, is that once he has a plan, he executes the plan. You know, where all the other inquisitors are either afraid of the situation, or they're not anywhere near the situation, or they are stuck in deliberation about what they should be doing. You know, Kryptman is hands-on. He's there. He will take that decision. He will make that hard choice. And he's prepared for the consequences, I think. So yeah, the man is a doer. He's not a talker, he's a doer. So at least with that, I can give him, you know, a star. But otherwise, everything else, the guy's crazy. The guy's absolutely mad. But guys, I guess that's it. That's it for today with Old Man Reacts. If you like the video, remember to give me a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell if you want to be up to date with my latest videos, and I will see you next time. Okay? Bye-bye.